Pressure passer. If grappling had a tank class, this would be it. The pressure passer doesn't dance around the guard, they just simply crush it. Every inch forward is calculated, and their game isn't built on speed or flexibility. It's built on control, connection, and relentless forward momentum. They're the ones who make you feel trapped even before they pass. Their chest-to-chest pressure forces opponents to waste energy fighting for air, not position. You'll see them settle into half guard, flatten the hips, then slowly grind their way to side control or mount. It's not flashy, but it breaks people mentally. In Jiu-Jitsu, pressure passers like Bernardo Faria or Rodolfo Vieira became famous for this suffocating style. They use the over-under pass, knee cuts, and shoulder pressure to remove all space. Wrestlers who transition to jiu-jitsu often gravitate toward this style, and it rewards strength, base, and patience. The downside, though, is mobility. Against flexible guard players or leg lock specialists, pressure passers can get caught or stalled out. They trade movement for control, which means scrambles are their weak point. But if they get on top and start closing the distance, you're not escaping. A good pressure passer doesn't just control the body, they control time. Every second on top feels longer than the last. It's slow, methodical domination, and when done right, it looks like the opponent simply gets crushed out of options. The guard player. If the pressure passer is the tank, the guard player is the sniper. They don't meet force with force, they use distance, timing, and leverage to flip the fight upside down. Where most people panic on their back, a good guard player feels at home. From there, they control grips, frames, and angles like a chess master setting traps. The guard is about patience disguised as chaos. Legs become shields, hooks, and weapons all at once. Whether it's the classic closed guard, the modern De La Riva, or the ever-annoying spider guard, the idea stays the same. Make your opponents attempt to pass a risk they can't afford to take. In pure jiu-jitsu, players like Marcelo Garcia or Mikey Musumeci turned guard into an art form. In mixed martial arts, it's a tougher sell because the ground and pound changes the equation, but when used smartly, the guard can still neutralize much bigger, stronger opponents. What makes it so dangerous is unpredictability. You never know when a sweep, triangle, or armbar is coming. Of course, the guard has limits. Against heavy top pressure or slick wrestlers, it can become a defensive trap. On hard surfaces, it's even worse and you can't move freely, and every slam hurts twice as much. That's why modern grapplers mix guards with faster transitions and stand-up entries, always staying ready to move. The guard is proof that being on bottom doesn't mean being behind. It means you're setting the bait. The submission hunter. The submission hunter isn't here to play points or stall, they're here to finish. Every grip, every transition, and every scramble is a setup for the kill. You'll see it in their body language. Calm, patient, and calculating 1 second, then suddenly exploding into an armbar, triangle, or choke before you even realize what happened. These grapplers don't chase position first. They chase opportunity. Their mindset is simple, and if you leave an opening, it's over. Fighters like Gordon Ryan and Craig Jones made this approach famous, turning high-level grappling into submission hunting clinics. They attack constantly, in scrambles, catching kimuras from weird angles and heel hooks when you think you're safe. Every escape you make is just another trap being set. What makes the submission hunter terrifying isn't just skill, it's confidence under pressure. They're comfortable in bad positions because they know that even while you're attacking, you're walking into their web. They don't need to dominate the fight, they just need one mistake. But that mindset comes with risk. Overcommitting to submissions can lead to losing position or gassing out. Against tight positional grapplers or wrestlers, they can end up stuck underneath, waiting for a chance that never comes. The best submission hunters evolve beyond chaos, and they learn to control when to explode and when to conserve. But still, they represent the purest form of grappling's essence. No judges, no scorecards, just you, your opponent, and the knowledge that one clean move can end it all. For a submission hunter, control is temporary. Finishing is forever. The Scrambler. The Scrambler lives in the chaos that everyone else avoids. Where most grapplers panic when a position slips, the Scrambler thrives. Every exchange, every loose grip, and every half pass becomes a chance to reverse, recover, or take the back. Their entire game is built on instinct, balance, and endless motion. Scramblers don't care about looking pretty, they care about not stopping. They blend wrestling reactions with jiu-jitsu fluidity, chaining one escape into another until they somehow end up on top. It's the kind of style that makes coaches nervous, but crowds go crazy. You can't teach it easily. It's something born from countless hours of chaos, trial, and muscle memory. In modern grappling, guys like Tai Rutolo and Nicky Ryan embody this energy. They don't freeze, and when they are caught, they move, invert, roll, and scramble until they find daylight. Even in mixed martial art, you'll see fighters like Tony Ferguson or Charles Oliveira using that same unpredictability to turn danger into opportunity. But scrambling is a double-edged sword. It burns energy fast, and one bad reaction can turn freedom into disaster. Against a patient pressure passer, too much motion just digs your own grave. That's why elite scramblers learn to time their chaos, knowing exactly when to explode and when to stay calm. At its best, scrambling looks like art in motion. It's raw survival that turns into offense, a dance between control and escape that never stops. The scrambler's gift isn't just movement, it's adaptability. Wherever the fight goes, they're already one step ahead. The leg lock specialist. Every generation has a technique that rewrites the rulebook, and leg locks did exactly that. For decades, attacking the legs was seen as cheap or dishonorable. Then a new breed of grapplers came along and flipped the game upside down. The leg lock specialist doesn't just threaten your base, they threaten your entire sense of safety. Every step, every shift of weight, every guard pass attempt could end with your knee popping or your ankle twisting the wrong way. What sets leg lockers apart is precision. They don't chase random submissions, they build traps. Grapplers like Gordon Ryan and Lachlan Giles turn this into a science, using entries from standing, inversions, or scrambles that end in instant danger. A great leg lock artist isn't reckless, they're patient hunters. They know when to isolate a limb, when to bait a reaction, and when to switch sides mid-attack. That's what makes them so deadly. Even when you think you've escaped, they're already setting up the next entanglement. But like any weapon, it has limits. In self-defense or mixed martial arts, hunting legs without awareness can get you punched in the face. And in points tournaments, losing position for a failed leg attack can cost the match. The best specialists evolve and use leg locks to control movement, force reactions, and open transitions to dominant positions like the back or mount. Love them or hate them, leg lockers changed modern grappling forever. They forced everyone to respect the lower body game and exposed how incomplete the old systems were. When a leg lock specialist sits down, you don't just see a guard pull, you see a countdown. The Traditionalist. The Traditionalist is the grappler who carries the roots of Jiu-Jitsu wherever they go. They believe in the old-school approach, clean fundamentals, strong posture, tight grips, and flawless basics that work in any era. No fancy inverting, just solid control, pressure, and positional dominance. Their mindset is built around earning every inch, not rushing to submissions or flashy scrambles. You'll recognize a Traditionalist right away. They pass with structure, not chaos. They use knee cuts, smash passes, and cross-face pressure to flatten opponents before advancing. Their top game is patient but crushing, and their bottom game is simple but effective. They train for efficiency, not flash, and their confidence comes from repetition, not tricks. This type of grappler often comes from a lineage that values the Gracie style of Jiu-Jitsu, which focuses on self-defense first and sport second. They respect the martial arts roots and treat technique as something sacred. Fighters like Rickson Gracie and Roger Gracie embody that philosophy. They prove that when your fundamentals are sharp, you don't need to rely on trendy systems to dominate. Of course, the Traditionalist has limits. Against hyper-modern players who invert, roll, and spin through every exchange, their style can look rigid. They can be too cautious, too methodical, and sometimes lose scrambles simply because they refuse to play that chaotic game. But their strength lies in consistency, and their technique doesn't age, and it doesn't depend on athleticism or trends. In a room full of specialists, the Traditionalist stands as a reminder of what grappling was meant to be: simple, effective, and timeless. When everything else fails, fundamentals still work. The Hybrid Grappler. The Hybrid Grappler is the evolution of the art. A part wrestler and a part jiu-jitsu player don't care where the fight starts or ends because they're comfortable everywhere. They'll shoot a double leg like a wrestler, control like a pressure passer, transition like a scrambler, and finish like a submission hunter. Their goal isn't to specialize, it's to connect everything seamlessly. This type of grappler came out of the modern era where pure styles started blending. You'll see it in athletes like Cade Rutolo or Felipe Pena, both competitors who flow from standing to ground without ever losing control. The hybrid understands that in today's game, being one-dimensional is a death sentence, so they study every phase: wrestling for takedowns, jiu-jitsu for control, and submission grappling for finishing. In training, hybrids look different. They roll with wrestlers to learn base and pressure, then drill with leg lockers to learn traps and escapes. They know how to defend against any guard because they've played them all. And they're dangerous because they never hesitate. If you defend a choke, they pass, and if you block a pass, they invert. Every reaction feeds their next move, but being a hybrid sometimes lack identity. They're great at everything but don't always have a home base. When a fight slows down, they can get drawn into another person's game. The best hybrids fix that by mastering transitions so well that they're never stuck anywhere long enough to lose momentum. This archetype represents the modern age of grappling. The hybrid isn't bound by tradition or trends. They take what works, discard what doesn't, and create a style that's uniquely their own. When the match turns unpredictable, they're the ones who stay 2 steps ahead because they've already trained for every scenario. The Wildcard. The Wildcard is chaos with purpose. They don't follow systems, they break them. You never know what they're going to do next. They'll roll under, cartwheel over, jump on your back, or dive for a submission from nowhere. While most grapplers build structure, the Wildcard thrives in the moments when everything falls apart. Their strength isn't predictability, it's surprise. They're the ones who frustrate even the best technicians. Every grip you win, they slip out of. Every position you secure, they twist into something else. Wildcards move differently, sometimes reckless, Sometimes brilliant, but always dangerous. They rely on timing, explosiveness, and creativity rather than methodical setups. Fighters like AJ Agazarm or Imanari carry this energy. What makes the wild card exciting is their willingness to risk it all. They'll dive for a submission others wouldn't even try because they trust their instincts over any playbook. That unpredictability wins fights that logic says they shouldn't win. It also loses fights they could have dominated, but that's the trade-off they accept. For the wild card, control is boring. They chase moments, highlight reels, and gasps from the crowd, which somehow turns into victory. Of course, the wild card's biggest weakness is consistency. Against composed grapplers, their tricks fade fast, but when they're on, they're terrifying. Every roll feels like a storm, and you can't plan for them. You just survive. They represent the wild side of grappling that reminds everyone this sport isn't just science. It's still a fight, and that's every type of grappler. So which one are you? Let me know down in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and stick around for more videos just like this.